So this is just a quick extra line before we begin. Due to what happened to Bosky, I do make a goof at the expense of Infinity War, and obviously that's fresh out, and some people may consider it a spoiler. The entire review has got no spoilers, but the goof at the end does have a bit of a spoiler. So if you don't want to watch that, the review ends with the line, "I don't feel so good, Mr. Bleszinski." So when you hear that line, if you don't want to see the goof, then just stop at "I don't feel so good, Mr. Bleszinski." That's like where the review ends and the goof begins. So there's your spoiler warning, but let's get on with it. So this is now a weird one, isn't it? As I was working on God of War, I've got some new stuff in there, like some new assets that I think will really take the videos up a notch in quality, and this was going to be after God of War, and all the new graphics and that were going to be in this, but then something happened.
As of May 14th, 2018, Cliff Bleszinski's independent development studio, Bosky Productions, has officially shut down. Before we discuss further, let's read the official statement provided by Cliff himself via his official Twitter page, which reads as follows. As of today, Bosky Productions is effectively no more. 4 years ago, I set out to make a world-class video game studio, and I hired some of the best talent in the video game industry. They worked tirelessly to produce quality products, and while we had our ups and downs, I'd like to think we had fun doing it. Lawbreakers was a great game that unfortunately failed to gain traction, and in a last-ditch attempt, we scrambled to do our take on the huge battle royale genre with Radical Heights, which was well received, however, it was too little too late. As for myself, I'm going to take some time off and reflect. I need to focus on myself and family as well as my Aussie, Teddy, who is slowly fading from us. Video games will forever be a part of who I am, and I hope to make something new again someday. However, I need to withdraw and take this time. To those of you who have supported myself and the studio these last 4 years, thank you from the bottom of my heart and everyone who came to work for me. Please note that servers for Radical Heights will remain up for the near future. Thanks again, Cliff.
Yeah, tough break, Cliffy B. I mean, what did you expect copying the genre that has been done to death? As Cliffy's game is the fourth one, you know. We've got number 1, PUBG. Number 2, Fortnite. Number 3, Paladin's Realm Royale, which in hindsight I should have reviewed before this. And number 4, Cliffy's Radical Heights. And soon to come, number 5.
Iconic parts of your favorite maps. And we're putting them all in one place. A crazy collision of fun. And letting you navigate it with land, sea, and air vehicles. Something you haven't experienced before. This is something totally new.
You serious?
This is doing Battle Royale the Black Ops way.
Yeah, another one. But, as Young just elaborated for us, the trend chasing, trying to cash in on Fortnite as you did with Overwatch and Lawbreakers, well, you tried to trend chase too many times and you've paid the iron price. Remember in Far Cry 5 when I said, because you see, that's the problem with a live service. What happens when the live service is no longer live? What happens when the service ends? And what happens when the service shuts down? Yeah, well, here we are. This is why live services are a bad idea, as you really need to think about what happens when the live service is no longer live. A quick shot of sorts at Radical Heights, but, you know, it doesn't really matter anymore. Like, if we take a quick shot of it, here are the crystals. The crystals cost money, and if there were any Cliff Bleszinski fanboys out there that drop money on these crystals, well, now, there you go. That money has just disintegrated into a nothing, turned to dust, as there is no longer a game. So now, how do we go about it? How do we review something that is already in the grave before it even came out? I mean, I'll give it a slight aside for a second and say that currently, while Boss Key Studios is currently closing, like shutting its doors, Cliff has stated that the servers are still on and will remain on for now. But how long is for now? A week? A month? So this is something interesting. I mean, it's never going to get updated again because, again, everybody's gone. It's basically little more than a headless chicken. The execution has already happened, and all this is the nerves causing the body to move around for a moment due to the initial shock, but its time is already up. It's never going to be updated. Bugs are never going to be fixed. Graphics are never going to be like this mesh building here. It's never going to turn from a mesh building, as there's nothing to fix. There will be nothing to fix. So how do we go about reviewing it? As it was a game, it launched, it had promotion, people were going to review it, and now dust. So I guess we'll just go through, if I was to say graphics, well, they're bright and colourful and it just captures the 80s game show feel, but what the fuck is this? This building's not even done. Just mesh textures. Oh, but Spyro, Boss Key Studios is already out of money, out of resources and out of time, so your criticism of this mesh building means this. Yeah, my critique of this mesh building just means nothing. So I have no idea how to do this, especially at the end, so I'll make it a quick review. We'll go through the little bits, but we'll see when we get to the end. I mean, they were better than PUBG, at least. I mean, it was colourful, death made you explode into fireworks and confetti, and overall it looked quite nice and had some visual flair. Again, more that can be said for PUBG, well, except for the things that were just placeholders and unrendered mesh textures. There was none. Skip! I mean, it was like Fortnite or PUBG or any battle royale. The controls themselves were like any other battle royale. You press a button to pick things up and you shoot a gun. I mean, they were responsive, maybe a bit floaty, but it doesn't matter now, does it really? It was basically another battle royale. 100 men, run around, collect your items, get to the arena at the end, and be the last one standing.
I am the one who lost control, but in the end I'll be the last man standing.
And here we are. This now leaves us at the final verdict and leaves us in an awkward position. How do we final verdict this? Do we give it a 2 out of 5 for being nothing more than another cheap imitation of Fortnite, but at least it had some colour in it and some personality that's more than can be said for PUBG? Or maybe a 0 out of 5 because all them gems that people bought are now a waste of money as the live service shall soon and no longer be live? I mean, at least you saw the score. I mean, I'll give it a 2, but it's not really a 2 anymore because it doesn't exist anymore. It's online, so it's not like an indie game where it's like, oh, Undertale, It's no, Undertale's getting a Switch release. What's an indie game that's no longer being worked on? Fez! You know, if we were to review Fez today, it's like, oh yeah, Phil Fish had a hissy fit and left the gaming industry, and the game's no longer being updated, it's no longer being worked on, but it's like a 4 out of 5. It's still a good game. You should still check it out. Like with Fez, we can still give it a score because it's still something that you can physically obtain and physically exists. Whereas Radical Heights, once they shut the servers down, it's no longer going to exist. It's just going to be basically erased from the world. So, I mean, there's a score, but it's not really a score. It's a transient score. It's just going to be like to 0. Broken. It's just been broken and deleted. I guess we give it a question mark, maybe, because its future is now undetermined. But hey, at least you saw the score. But all I can say is, if you want to try it, then I guess download it. It's certainly worth a try if you want to try it. But don't buy any crystals, as in the coming months, if not weeks, that money that you've just spent on the crystals will mean nothing more than a waste of money, as I don't feel so good, Mr. Bleszinski.
Start. I don't feel so good. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Start, please. Please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.